and the Ad Council.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.
Welcome to another edition of Real Family Talk. Hello. Welcome to another week of Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday evening out there. Of course, you know I am. It's Tuesday. Love Tuesdays. Let me go ahead and welcome everybody in the building with me tonight. Jeremy's in the building. How you doing tonight, Jeremy?
I'm good. How y'all doing out there?
Oh, doing pretty good, sir. We got Miss McCrae's in the building. How you doing, Miss McCrae?
I'm blessed. Good morning. I'm glad to be back.
Excellent.
I missed you guys.
Awesome. And Mr. King's in the building as well.
All right. Glad to be here.
All right. Tonight, man, we're going to have some fun tonight. We got Jason Henry's going to be joining us tonight. He'll be coming on in about the next 10 minutes or so here. So we look forward to having him on this evening. He's going to stop by. He's working on a new project. He calls it the Jason Henry Project. So he's going to bring that to the Real Family Talk show tonight. And he's going to be a regular, too. So we look forward to seeing what he has to bring. Before we get to that, though, as always, a couple news things I'd like to throw out there. So as we all know, the NBA playoffs is going on. The Western Conference Final, San Antonio, Memphis. Memphis got spanked in Game 1. It wasn't even pretty. Seemed like the game was over from the first quarter. I saw that game pretty much the whole game until lost interest after I saw who was going to win. And then, of course, the Heat and the Indiana Pacers starts tomorrow night. It's supposed to start last night. I wonder, does anybody know what happened? Why didn't it start last night? I know it was scheduled to start, and then I was watching. I went to the show or the channel to see if it was on, and then found out they had switched it, and now it's coming on. First game is tomorrow night.
I think
as opposed to last night.
I think because of the tornado footage that dominated the news, and it kind of felt a little inappropriate to be playing a sport.
I suppose
that night.
It's
from what I think. That's what I think. Who knows?
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
it's probably a scheduling conflict. They might have a concert coming through. The Monday talk.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, it starts tomorrow night. But what I wanted to get to real quick, OKC. Of course, they lost to the Grizzlies. Well, here's what I don't understand. 407-894-1680 is the number. If you have a comment, maybe you can break this down for me. But why is Kevin Durant getting a pass? Seems like he's getting a pass to me. Pretty much, the Kevin Durant is supposed to be the man in OKC, Oklahoma City. The guy who is not the man, the guy who they say is the ball hog and is taking away Kevin Durant's opportunities, goes down. And pretty much OKC goes down too. So as much as it seems like Russell Westbrook gets criticized for hogging the ball, taking the ball away from Kevin Durant, when Kevin Durant had his moment in the sun, it seems like he couldn't step up to the plate. He got lost. I mean, he was pretty much gone every fourth quarter. I mean, but here's the thing that gets me about the whole situation. Everybody's giving him a pass. It's like, well, you got to understand he didn't have Russell Westbrook, so you can't fault him for that. Like, really? Why? Because he's a nice guy, so he doesn't get villainized like the other guys? Because had his name been Kobe, had his name been LeBron James, he would have been talked and run through the mud like, oh, this guy is nothing. This guy's nothing. Everybody's saying he's this and he's that, blah, 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 blah. But his team, can't count on him, blah, 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 blah. But yet Kevin Durant, everybody's like, oh, you got to feel bad for him. He didn't have Russell Westbrook. It's tough. Like, why does Kevin Durant get a pass? Can anybody tell me? Mr. King, you're usually pretty vocal about sports. Mr. King, why does Kevin Durant get a pass?
I'm a Kevin Durant fan.
I was going to ask you first. What's up with your boy?
I'm a Kevin Durant fan. So I have to agree with you. When the time come to step up, he was missing shots. So, it's really no defense. I mean, really, I understand what you're saying, but you've already given the answer. He's a nice guy, so nobody's going to there down. Now, if he was a cocky type of person, he's the perfect NBA role model. And
he had to do something he was never accustomed to doing. He never played at that level without his Robin. You understand what I'm saying? You know,
he always had James Harden. Or he always
had a constant there, whether it was Westbrook or Harden. Harden gone, obviously, when Westbrook hurt.
And the thing,
he doesn't have anybody there.
The person we should be getting on is the person that they was getting on in the beginning of the season, which is Martin. Where was he at? That is the question. Where was you at, Martin? Because James Harden, he didn't step up last year, but that's who was supposed to be the one to step up at the time. You know, when Kevin is failing, you need that Martin to step up and be like, okay, this is why we traded for you. Now is your time to shine.
That's
also
not what they didn't trade for him.
Well, you know,
they just wanted to get something because they knew they was losing Harden. But actually, to me, I would agree with Sir Charles was making a good point about that. It's probably more the coach, because he's like, if you was watching the game and you see how they was playing, they basically had Kevin Durant playing the point guard. Every time down the court, he had the ball in his hands, trying to do one-on-ones for 48 minutes against Memphis, as physical as they are. And obviously, he's slight in stature, so he can't take that kind of pounding. You understand what I'm saying? So, the fourth quarter come, you're a jump shooter, and you tired. When jump shooters tired, what they do? They miss. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like he just had too much to do on his hands.
Excuses. That's what it sounds like to me.
That's what
That's what I hear, Miss McCray. Do you hear something different? Are you on the excuse train for Kevin Durant?
I have a soft spot for Kevin Durant. I really do. But nice I hear what you're saying. It's like, wait, this is your team. This is supposed to be your team. How did this happen? Why are you guys not playing anymore? Kevin, who also donated $1 million today to the victims in Oklahoma.
Like I was saying, anybody who looking for a job, go ahead and start applying for FEMA right now, because FEMA will be hiring for Oklahoma City.
I see we got Jason Henry. He's already called in. How you doing tonight, Jason?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Tell me, do you have excuses for Kevin Durant too in his performance against Memphis, man? Are you going to tell me he's validated too? Is that what you're going to tell me, Jason? Talk to me.
You know what? The main excuse that I've been hearing is that he would play so hard for 4.5 quarters, or 3.5 quarters, that his legs would be so tired by the end of the game he couldn't get any lift.
That don't sound like an excuse, though. That sounds like what happened.
But you know what, though? For a player his caliber, I guess it kind of is an excuse. I heard someone else say that if it was another player like Kobe or LeBron, they wouldn't receive a pass.
No, they wouldn't. Kobe would be criticized and dogged for not showing up in the fourth quarter, even if he did play 44, 48 minutes in the game.
But I would say this. I would understand that more with Kobe, because his game speaks of that, or I can do anything, you know. Even LeBron game doesn't even say that. What Kobe game says, you know what I'm saying? LeBron isn't as arrogant and as I would say as cocky. You know what I'm saying? His attitude is as arrogant as Kobe's is.
Yeah, he's not as arrogant, but I think his game is arrogant, because if you look at it, for LeBron, he can guard all 5 positions. He can play the point. He can even play center if let him. And KD, he's so, I hate to use the word frail, but when you look at his build,
yeah.
It really is hard for him to take 30, 35 shots and hold up for 4 quarters, but when you're that type of superstar, that's what you're going to be expected to do when your second command goes down.
And you know what? And he probably would have been in a better position if Westbrook got hurt like halfway through the regular season.
Absolutely.
But see, it happened right in the playoffs, so he was kind of thrust. And the whole team in general, like not just Kevin Durant, they was thrown in a position they never been before. Like they said, this is the first time Westbrook ever missed a game in his career.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like taking Pippen out off the Bulls right in the beginning of the playoffs. How they go adjust? You know what I'm saying?
But you know what?
Obviously, Jordan go hit 60 a game, but pass out. But everybody ain't Jordan. There's a reason he's Jordan.
But you know what? Maybe if it was against a different team, the results would have been different. Memphis is such a physical team.
Exactly.
You got Marc Gasol and Zebo down in the low block that KD can't. I don't know. Maybe if it was against Golden State or, I don't know, even the Nuggets, then maybe they could have pulled that series off with him shooting 30 times a game. But against a team that's as physical as Memphis, it just eventually took a toll on his body.
All right. Well, I'm going to say this then. KD is off my superstar list until he can show
you hear that, Brother King? He's talking about your boy.
Oh, man.
He's off my superstar list. He's off the superstar list.
Now, will say this.
I'm putting Russell Westbrook on my superstar.
Now, I will say this. Brother King is mighty quiet for somebody who's been talking about how much better KD is than LeBron James. He mighty quiet. He had nothing to say.
I mean,
his boy at the house fishing. We need to get that picture of how they do on the show and show him with the rod and reel in his hand.
Like I say, man, both of my boys at home. Melo at home and KD at home. So
and both of them supposed to be home.
It's cool. It's cool. I'm not worried about it. LeBron was at home every year until he got with Dwayne Wade. So, everybody knows that you need that Robin. So if that man didn't do it without his Robin, I can't do nothing about it. Can't say nothing about it. When he had his Robin, we saw where he was at last year.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. There's nothing else I can say.
Home without a ring.
Wow.
That's where he was last year.
All right, man. We're going to
fishing without bait.
Let's jump right in here. So Jason Henry, like I said, is joining us tonight. We're calling this segment the Jason Henry Project. So go ahead, Jason, and introduce yourself to the people, and then we'll get into your topic tonight.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. As you mentioned, my name is Jason. I have a weekly podcast that I do. It's titled The Jason Henry Project. And just to give you a short synopsis of basically what the podcast is about, probably about, close to 10 years ago, I started a newsletter called The Henry Project, which is basically a play off of my last name. And that newsletter kind of grew into something different. I had an article with the West Orlando News Online. It was titled The Henry Project. So anything that I've done, I guess specifically from a media standpoint, has been a play off of that. So when I started to do the podcast, I just put my first name on it to kind of give it a brand. But in essence, the podcast is basically where I'm attempting to give vital news updates. So whether it's Syria or politics or the NBA or the NFL, I try to pick out stories that I believe are going to be beneficial to the community so that you'll actually know what's going on. And it's not anything that's long and drawn out. The podcast was 30 minutes. It just jumped up to an hour because it was picked up by an online radio station. But I'm attempting to educate, in essence. I really and truly want to be sure that my community, that my peers, and myself included, that we're educated on some of the most important news stories that are going to be impacting our community.
All right. And what's the topic tonight?
So the topic tonight is Syria. And the reason I chose Syria is because, and honestly, I went back and forth because we know what's going on with the White House. We have scandals involving the president and the IRS, the AP, the Department of Justice has seized phone records for reporters from the AP, but that has expanded to CBS News and to Fox News. So that story is getting bigger. We have immigration reform on the table. So many things going on. But the reason I chose Syria is because everything is kind of under the guise of national security. If you heard what Attorney General Eric Holder said about the reason why the Department of Justice decided to seize those records, it was because there were some national security concerns. If we talk about the Tea Party and the IRS, there's always something dealing with national security. Well, Syria is basically our biggest national security concern right now. And the reason being is because when the president took a trip to the Middle East, he took a trip probably about 2-3 months ago, went to Israel for the first time as the president, and when he was asked about the situation in Syria, he said point blank, I have no good policy option in Syria right now. The big thing is that they want to arm the rebels, but the president has been hesitant on doing that. He doesn't want to have any type of military intervention, but the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has been kind of poking and prodding, stating that he wants to do everything that he can to protect Israel. And then you have the terrorist organization Hezbollah, who is in cahoots, so-called, with Iran. You have so many different kind of hands in the pot with Syria that it's almost like a powder keg that's ready to explode. And if anything of consequence happens in Syria, then that puts the United States in a really, really peculiar position, because President Obama says that the president of Syria, al-Assad, he has to go, but there's no good policy option to push him out. Israel wants him to go, and they are continuing to actually have airstrikes against Hezbollah in some of their regions in Syria. So if something happens, then this is something that we need to pay attention to, because this could potentially be the next war that the United States involves itself in.
Now, let me ask you this: do you think if Israel presses forward, because I know they've been threatening, greater and greater action against Syria, do you think if they press forward, that will force our hand to participate in this particular situation?
It depends on how they press forward, because as of yesterday and maybe even a couple of days ago, they were still raining airstrikes down on Hezbollah, because the reason why they're doing this is they said that they don't want any type of advanced weaponry in the arms of terrorists, and Hezbollah is considered a terrorist organization. So if there's any type of escalation, if the airstrikes continue, if you see any type of ground troop movement, then I think you're going to see the U.S. kind of painted into the corner. I don't think you're going to see that anytime soon, because the U.S. is continuing to provide humanitarian aid to Turkey, to countries like Turkey and to Jordan. And there was also, I believe, from Israel. I'm sorry, from Jordan. My bad. Jordan is continuing to provide refuge for some of the refugees that are coming across the border from Syria. So as long as you don't see any type of ground troop movement, I think the United States is okay. But the minute that happens, then President Obama is going to be in a tight situation.
Do you think they would press forward and actually either one, give aid to the rebels, or two, send troops? It seems like I think the president's a little hesitant about doing things of that nature. I think he'd be very hesitant about making any kind of move, especially military action, in that area. What do you think, though?
Nah, my honest opinion is that he's not going to do anything. He's going to drag his feet on this as long as he can to try to get out of his second term without any type of military intervention, any type of strong military intervention, because he's intervened in countries. He's intervened in Africa. He's intervened in other countries, but on a lower scale, and he does not want any type of war while he's president. So the biggest thing that he may end up doing is arming the rebels. That may even take some time, but I do not think you're going to see any type of major military intervention, unless something major happens, which I don't see happening, because over 80,000 Syrians have been killed in the civil war in Syria, and the international community, I don't want to say they're sitting on their hands, but they haven't made any type of overture to stop what Assad is doing to his own people. You saw a couple of weeks ago where Turkey said that they have evidence that he used chemical weapons on his own people. Nothing has happened since that report actually surfaced. So President Obama doesn't want to have any type of military intervention in Syria because he does not want that on his record.
Is there something that you think that we can hold out until his term is up?
I think he's hopeful. The United States, in the past, whenever there was any type of international conflict, the United States always held all the cards. If they didn't make a move, then usually nobody else did. And unless there was something else going on, as, I don't know, Kuwait or Bosnia, then we would kind of get involved and then try to shut everything down. In this case, because the United States position has been weakened militarily and financially, then he may not have a choice, but I just don't see him wanting to get the United States military involved in anything outside of Iraq and Afghanistan, because he's seen what that can do to your presidency, number one. And number two, he's trying to work on his legacy now. I don't think you're going to see anything happen as far as domestic policy goes because of the scandals that surround his presidency now. So if anything, he's working on damage control right now, and he's working on his legacy, and intervening in Syria really won't do anything to help his legacy.
Right. I do think I think you're right. If he did anything, I would see him arming the rebels. I mean, he's done that, arm rebels in countries against presidents that he wasn't a big fan of. So I could definitely see maybe that move. But yeah, I agree. The military action for this president, for sure. I just don't see that happening. Even if Israel presses forward, I mean, he's not been the biggest Israel supporter in. At least publicly anyway. He's kind of stayed away from it, shied away from it, even said some things most people consider negative about Israel. So I don't see him just jumping in the hat just because, they want to wage forward with some kind of particular action. So I definitely agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason I bring it up is because we're continuing to go on this narrative of national security, and Syria and Israel and Jordan and Turkey and Iran and all these Middle Eastern countries and European nations are involved in this conflict. And the United States, or I should say Americans, were so concerned about national security and terrorism after 9/11, and that kind of waned until we had the event that happened in Boston. Now that Boston is sort of kind of going away because it seems that we have a new national tragedy every month, whether it's a tornado or a school shooting or something that takes our attention off of that. This is the next major, again, almost like a powder keg for the United States from a national security level.
Gotcha. You guys, you got any other comments on it, Jason?
No, that's it, man. Just keep your ears tuned, or keep your eyes peeled to what's going on. I would say keep your eyes open to what Israel is doing. Again, they're continuing to rain airstrikes down on Hezbollah. Keep your eyes open to what Iran is doing, and also keep your eyes peeled to the Syrian elections that are coming up this summer, because again, the president al-Assad has said that he's not stepping away. They're going to have elections this summer, so depending on how that turns out may depend on how the conflict goes in that nation.
Gotcha. All right, man. We appreciate it, man. Jason Henry, the Jason Henry Project. Tell them where they can find the podcast, man.
I was just about to ask that question.
You can find the podcast every single Monday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on www.talkradio99.com. If you ever want to listen to any past podcasts or a new podcast that I just posted today, you can go to thepodcasthost.com/the Jason Henry Project, or you can just go to my Facebook page.
All right, man. And that, of course, is Jason Henry, man. We appreciate you coming by the show, man. And we look forward to seeing what you bring to us next week. One last basketball comment. I know you're a big sports fan, too. The Magic get the number 1 overall pick. Who should they go with?
I thought they got the number 2 pick.
They got number 2.
I didn't know it happened already.
The Cavs got number 1.
Oh, Cavs got number 1. So who should they get with number 2 then?
Man, this is such a weak draft class.
Yes, it is.
I mean, honestly, the main person that you've been hearing is Nerlens Noel. He's probably going to go to the Cavs now. The Magic, they have so many holes on their team. They need a new point guard. They need a 2. They need a new center. They need a power forward. So it's pretty much a toss-up for them. But because the class is so weak, I'm pretty sure they would rather have the number 1 and number 2 pick next year.
Yeah. I say trade it.
I absolutely agree with that. Trade it away, see if you can get some.
The Magic need to get Rudy Gay. That's who they need. Trade, give that number 2 pick to the Raptors and get Rudy Gay.
I don't think the GM wants to take on that contract.
No, they don't have no need for Rudy Gay right now.
They don't have a
because they can get Rudy Gay now, and they still go win 20 games. So it ain't even gonna matter.
Right.
Ain't no reason to pay somebody that much money and still only win 20 games.
That's the rap sheet of the Magic, though.
They got to build.
I mean, when you rebuild, you got to rebuild.
At least he ain't hurt.
You'll bring Rudy Gay in when you get some other talent with him, because Rudy Gay ain't no team changer.
All right. Well, we appreciate you, Jason, man. I love the comments, man. We'll talk to you next month, man.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
All right. So the Magic got the number 2 pick, huh?
Number 2.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll see what they do with the number 2. Y'all, what about Trey Burke? He seems like he got some explosiveness about him. You don't like that?
I don't think he's ready yet.
I think he's too young.
He's not ready. It's not just about young. He's just not ready.
That's what I mean by.
He's just not ready. Most point guards, they ain't gonna just step in the league, especially not undersized.
But you draft him. He got Jameer Nelson there. I know you're not a Jameer Nelson fan, Jeremy, but he studied.
But not at number 2.
No, years.
Not at number 2.
I'm a Jameer Nelson fan, Jameer. Don't worry about it, bro.
Not at number 2.
Oh, okay.
Because you took that man water a few times, don't mean y'all know each other.
Hey, I didn't say I know him. I mean, he did come into Barbecue Boys a couple of times, but hey, I like Jameer as a player.
Now he cool as far as every day he's already got but I would just say I'm just saying it was to me it wasn't a good fit. Let's say that.
It been plenty of times, plenty of games Jameer has stepped up and made game changing shots.
He has.
All right.
And where we at with it?
20 games. That's all right. But that's all right, man. We'll move on. Well, I can't wait to see. June 27th, I think, is the draft, right? For the NBA, June 27th. I believe when the draft goes down, can't wait to see what we do with the number 2 pick. I'm kind of glad we didn't get that number 1 pick though, because if they had got the what's the boy? How you say his name? New Orleans Noah.
New Orleans Noah.
Yeah, the boy seems fragile to me.
He is.
He
He a center or something? What position he play?
Yeah, he's a center. He's like 6'11", 7 feet, like 200 pounds.
Like who's
Now,
he
granted, I mean,
about?
he stepped in college and he played good defense.
Who's gonna
but
post up in the NBA?
He's not. But that's the thing too. He don't really have no offensive game.
Yeah.
He's strictly defense and rebound.
I'm glad that they avoided that, because they'd pick that dude. I think.
And he just blew his ACL.
Right. So
What?
He can't even play for 2 months.
He blew it in was it January or was it December?
I don't remember what month.
Maybe
but-
even February.
But it'll be 2 months into the season before he can even debut. So I mean, I don't know. He's probably gonna get drafted because he's a big guy.
yeah, he gonna go
But-
top 5.
But I hope it ain't us. I hope somebody else take that chance. Just kind of reminds me of Greg Oden all over again. You know. I hope we don't take that chance. I hope we don't take that chance.
I'm just praying for Greg Oden. That was just crazy.
But we'll move on from that. There's a big story. It's all over the news today that I want to get into. I even tuned in some other radio stations today, and they would talk about it too. It's the case of Kelley Hunt. Kelley Hunt, for those that don't know, is a Florida teen who is facing felony charges due to the relationship that she had with another young lady at her school. She's 18. The other young lady was 15. And so now the parents of the 15-year-old have pressed and gotten the prosecutor. This is a Florida case in Indian River County, I think is how you say it. Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
Indian River County to press charges now under the lewdness and indecent exposure statute. Basically, it says that if you are a person over 18 who has some type of sexual relationship with a person between the age of 12 and 16, then you could be charged for statutory rape. And so that is the crime that they have charged her with. And obviously the prosecutor is going to see if he can take this to trial and get her convicted. Now, they did offer a plea deal in the case, which is why one of the things that they're talking about. But the plea deal basically gives her 2 years of house arrest, a year of probation, and she would have to plead to basically child abuse, which is a felony. And then they're leaving it, the prosecutor said it'd be up to the judge as to whether or not he made her register as a sex offender. So now the thing I don't like about the case is because obviously this, talking about 2 girls in a relationship, a lot of the media is playing this as some kind of hatred case against same-sex relationships. They can't resist themselves, I guess. I don't know.
Well, think about it. Would this be an issue if Johnny, the high school football player who was a senior quarterback,
been an issue.
was dating a freshman cheerleader? No, not at all. That happens every day.
If the parents called the police, he would have been in jail.
He'd have been in jail. The parents called police. Which there are men. There are young men. Florida has these types of laws and uses them every now and then. Georgia is another state that has laws like this, uses it every now and then. And there have been young men that have gone to jail behind, they're a senior, the young lady was 15 or whatever, when they had their sexual relationship, both in high school. The relationship was, they were together a year, 6 months, how they do in high school, whatever. But yeah, there are young men that have gone down due to these laws. So she's not the first. This may be one of the first lesbian type of relationships that have gone down under this law, but she's certainly not the first teenager that has been brought up on charges based on the law. Personally, I wanted to talk about the law, and whether or not the law is right, which I think we can probably all agree that this law is actually, to me, it's ridiculous that they apply it to teenagers. The original intent, from what I can see, was about adults and children, and making sure adults are not having improper relationships with children. But the fact that they've used it on several occasions, like I said, in Florida and in Georgia, for seniors against freshmen, basically, when a parent decides that they want to complain. That's what I think is outrageous, and in this case, it's outrageous. But I think it's unfortunate that the media and the parents, to an extent, are blasting this as some kind of case against same-sex relationships, and not dealing with the law. They're dealing with people's perception of gay relationships, which I think is wrong. I mean, if you go out, they've got a petition started to get her free from all of these charges. There's I think I heard, the last count I heard was over 40,000 signatures on change.org to petition that the prosecutors drop the charges against her. There's also a Facebook page now, a Free Kate, they call it apparently, with over 13,000 friends that have liked the particular page, again, all asking for the charges to be dropped. And again, they predicate this all on the idea that she's simply being prosecuted based on the idea that this is a same-sex relationship, and somehow or another she's being singled out due to her same-sex relationship, which is what I take issue with. I take issue with that being used as the crutch here. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. You had a comment there, Ms. McCray?
Looking at some of the other articles, it goes a little bit deeper. The parents of the 15-year-old young lady, of course, did not approve of this relationship. So they're saying Caitlin's parents are saying that the 15-year-old's parents kind of set this thing in motion to get her trapped, to kind of end this relationship. This is a problem, obviously, with Gennaro Wilson. That's what comes to mind when I think of this. He was a senior, and he was messing with a freshman, and she just happened to be. That was more of a race issue because she was white, he was black.
That's typically when you see it, when a black kid is dating a white girl. That's typically when you see the law used.
Yeah. So, and now it's a same-sex case. So it needs to be looked at because obviously, I mean, if it's a relationship, then that's what it is. High schoolers date who they date. Like you said earlier, if it's supposed to affect adults from dating teenagers.
Well, let me say this. I think we need to start educating the high school boys or women, as in this case. All 18-year-olds in this high school do not date anybody that's not at least a junior. And at least 16, because, you got some smart ones out there. They skipped a few grades. But other than that, don't even look at them freshmen and sophomores. Because it's one of the things. It's just like with us black people, how we need to be educated on some laws. At the same time, we need to educate these young men on the laws. Like, hey, I know she look good. I know you may want her, she may want you, but no, it's not worth jail. Wait a few more years till she gets 16. By then, hopefully you don't want her anyway because you'll be 20. And then that way, this will stop some of this stuff. Some of it. It's not gonna stop all of it, but.
407-894-1680. But really, you can have that conversation, but they're high school. I mean,
right. This has been happening for years.
They can be high school they want to. You 18 years old, you
since
grown.
The inception of high
Whether
school,
you realize it or not, you
seniors
grown.
And freshmen
you get pulled over,
and the like have been dating.
If you get pulled over by the police, you go into 33rd, and your 17-year-old friends go into JDC. You grown. You need to learn that it's some stuff you just don't need to be doing. It ain't no different than any other crime.
I completely agree. Because, when you're in high school, the thing that you look forward to is turning 18. So once you turn 18, you need to be an 18-year-old responsible adult, and you know the responsibilities that come with being 18. So therefore, if that's the law, and you 18, then therefore you fall within the law. We understand what used to happen in the past. Maybe it wasn't the law back then, but every high schooler knows that.
I think it was just one of the things nobody cared. Because everybody grouped everybody in one little group, But as things are different now.
Yeah,
it's got to change. You just got to understand, like, hey, okay, look, you're 18. Parents.
That's the law.
All the parents out there, if you got 70-year-old sons, tell your 70-year-old sons don't date no freshmen. So that way when they get to 18, they kind of be already turned off. First of all, why do we want the freshmen? Can we talk about that? When you got all these juniors and seniors running around, why y'all looking at the freshmen?
Well, first of all, because it's high school. That's why.
Right.
Exactly.
I want the older man.
And people predators in high school. I know.
We talk about high school. I mean, like I said, most seniors in high school, especially, the quote-unquote dogs, if you will, at the school, the first thing they're saying, when the senior year comes, man, I can't wait to see that freshman.
They're looking for the new crop.
So, it's high school. I mean, it's the nature of high school. It's been that way for hundreds of years, As long as we've been going to high school, that's been the case in high school. I mean, it's high school. But here's the thing, even in this case, in most cases that this law is used, we're not talking about these random acts of, sexual acts. We're usually talking about kids who were, again, in high school. They were dating each other. They were liking each other. One of them was 17 at the time. The other one was 14 at the time, or maybe 15 at the time. And then, of course, he or she, in this case, a she, turns 18 at some point. But this was after, in this particular case, these girls were, quote unquote, dating for a year. And then, a year went by and, a 17-year-old turns 18. And then the first thing the parents did in this particular case is like, okay, she's 18 now. Right. Let's run to the prosecutors.
To stop it.
And we're going to, press her up on charges. And I know that'll end this relationship. So that's what happens in a lot of these cases. It's that the kids themselves are in these long-term, relative, it's teenage years anyway, long-term relationships. And then at some point, one of the parties turns 18, and then the parents don't like the relationship, so the parents basically manipulate the laws to end a relationship that they didn't approve of in the first place. So that, again, the law is basically being manipulated to do the job that the parent couldn't complete at home. Which is why these laws used in these cases is wrong. Again, you can't manipulate. You should not be able to manipulate the law to fix your parental problem. Essentially, but 407-894.
Let me ask you this: so what's different with them doing this to their minor child? This is a child living in their house they taking care of. What's different doing that and the lawyer going in? A defense attorney going into a murder trial, whatever trial, and manipulating laws, or even a corporate lawyer going and manipulating tax laws for a corporation. What's the difference?
The difference is this is clearly a case that has nothing to do with rape. That's the difference.
Right.
Okay, it may not, but that's what statutory rape is.
Both parents know that this is not rape. The prosecutor knows that this wasn't rape. The judge, whoever presides over this case, knows it's not rape. That's why it makes a difference. This is not rape. But the judge has not alluding.
The judge judges on the law, correct?
It's not any of these things. So for the case to be prosecuted and move forward for a young 18-year-old girl to be threatened with the possibility of gaining a felony, accused as a child abuser, potentially labeled as a sex offender, right, for a high school relationship, which is now going to basically ruin pretty much most of the successful career she could have had. Yes, this is a problem. We should be outraged at this. We should be outraged in her case. We should be outraged in other cases that have been brought towards this, because you're ruining high schoolers' lives based on this idea that, again, this is about the parents. The parents didn't like the relationship. Well, they should have ended the relationship. The relationship went on for a year. A year this relationship went on. Well, I mean, so don't tell me parent after a year, because you can't control your 15-year-old or your 14-year-old at the time. Now you want to ruin another girl's life because you can't tell your 14-year-old to stop seeing her? Are you kidding me?
Well, evidently they couldn't stop her from seeing her. Now, I'm not saying they right. I ain't saying the parents right, obviously. But what I'm saying to you is, well, then where's the 15-year-old speaking up?
I'm sure she's like, Mom and Dad, really?
Mom and Dad, she got a mouth. Stop. It's Facebook. It's the internet. You can go on the internet anywhere.
I'm positive. I'm sure. Well,
she can be on the internet right now saying, I don't agree with this. She can go to the judge. She can also hire an attorney.
She probably put
to represent her best interest and go in here and defend and say, hey, it was a consenting relationship, and that can be presented in the court for the judge to consider. But if that doesn't get considered, if she doesn't step up and do that, then the 18-year-old need to talk to 15-year-old like, well, what's going on? I thought we was together.
Well, first of all, it hasn't gone to trial, so that may happen. But that's not the point. My point is, it shouldn't be even. She shouldn't have never been arrested. There should be no charges filed. It's
then you should have just
absolutely
left
ludicrous.
my daughter alone. Then
Ludicrous.
for a year, I have told you to leave my daughter alone.
No, for a year, both parents knew about the relationship, and both parents allowed the relationship to continue. Again,
how you figure?
How
you figure I'm gonna let this go on for a year?
She is 14
but how do you know they allowing it? Though?
Thank you. How you figure this now? Really?
Now, come on. Now, let's be honest. We all have been here 14, 15. We did some stuff that our parents didn't want us to do. Am I correct?
Here's what I'm saying. If you
why you answer the question, bro?
You may do something maybe at school that your parents don't approve of, but the issue that they have is the sexual relationship that happened. That sexual relationship didn't happen in the confines of school. That sexual relationship had to happen out of the confines of school.
True, but didn't
they
say
so that at some point, this happened. They continue to allow it. Both parents were aware of this situation, and yet one parent let it go on until they could actually, quote unquote, go to the law about it. Again, if it's your 14-year-old, you should be able to end that. And if you can't, then it's not the law's responsibility to step in and end that for you. That's not the law. You can't use the law that way.
So what would you suggest that they do then?
What?
What do you suggest the parents do if they're not going to the law? Because if I hit the child, the law going to come to me.
Hey, man, that's your child. You have to figure out how to deal with your child.
Hold on. But that's
what
the law for.
That's what we do. That's what the law for.
That's the law for.
That's what I'm doing.
No, you can't do that.
That's what I'm doing, though.
The law is not dealing with your child. The law is putting somebody else in jail because you can't control your child.
Because I can't control her. I've told you got to think about it. I understand how you seeing it because this is what the reporters are saying that we knew about this. But it's been plenty of situations where, okay, I done told that girl, leave my daughter alone plenty of times. I done told her parents, yes, we are aware that they were talking to each other, but we told them to stop it. Did they stop it? No. I continue. Nobody. No. I'm gonna give her or whoever the benefit of the doubt and say they didn't just let them date until go ahead, go to the movies, go out to eat. As soon as you turn 18, though, I got you. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say they were not like that. They continually said, I don't want you to see my daughter. Leave my daughter alone. They gave them the whole year. And eventually it was like, well, I can't do anything to you, but I have to get the law involved. And the lawyers probably was like, well, we can't do this and we can't do this. This is the maximum that we can give you just to scare you. That's what they really try to do. They're not going to really do all of that.
You crazy. Yes, they are.
She's been arrested. Like charges.
She's been arrested.
There is a deadline of May 24th for her to decide whether or not she should plead to child abuse and then let a judge decide whether or not she's a sex offender. May 24th is her deadline. This is not a game.
Right.
They're not joking with her.
Well, I mean,
her life is potentially
you had a year to leave this girl alone.
Hey, at some point, you got to use your sense about it.
So
I agree, Brother King. If them parents didn't like you,
Thank you.
We all done dated people, and you can tell if your parents somebody like you or not. And if you 17 or 18 years old, and if you got a 14-year-old, even if you 17, the girl's 14, that ain't right.
You know what's up. I'm pretty sure throughout this entire year,
at some point where the common sense come in,
they were saying, leave my daughter alone.
407-894.
Ain't nothing to do with it.
I was in high school, and they was like,
you did some foolish things in high school.
I've had some parents be like, you know what, I don't want you talking to my daughter no more. Do you think I continually to go over and try to pursue something
with their daughter? Did the girl still try to go after you, though? See, nobody's putting it on this 15-year-old.
When the girl was
18-year-old could have been
and
like,
when I was 18, I did not talk to women younger than me. I didn't start talking to women younger than me until I was over 25.
But I'm talking about you. You showed restraint, but were those girls still coming at you? I'm saying, shut up, fool.
You
what
can't
I'm
restrain
saying
yourself.
is, anyway, what if the 18-year-old was like, yo, look, okay, we need to chill out. Your parents are threatening to do this, that, and the other, and the 15-year-old is still coming after her.
So,
and in one of the articles, they're saying they recorded one of their phone conversations. So when you talk about controlling your teenager, take that phone away. Why are you on the phone? I'm taking your cell. You're not talking on the phone at the house. Like any kind of way you're going to talk to this person is in school.
That's a defense.
After that, that's it.
If the 18-year-old comes in her defense and says, hey, I tried to break it off, but she kept pursuing me and telling me this, that, and the third, then that is part of your defense. But if that ain't in her defense, then how are we going to know?
Well, like I said, it hasn't gone to trial.
Let me ask this. If your friends keep calling you and say, hey, man, I got this lick over here. It's easy. And you tell them no. And they keep saying, yeah, come on, man, it's easy, it's easy. They got $3,000. It's easy. And you say, man, you know what, you can go to court. Man, I tried to tell them no. But, man, you know what? They kept asking me, so I just said, whatever.
No,
Is that a defense?
That is not a defense.
Okay, then.
That is not a defense. But again, I go back to my original statement. Again, this law is obviously being used in a lesbian relationship this time, but it's being used against young men too.
Yeah, it is.
And so young men, like I said, a lot of times it's usually a black-white thing. A lot of times, especially in Georgia, that's pretty much what it was every single time I've heard about it. But you had these white parents who decided they didn't appreciate this black boy, I guess, being with their daughter, and so once he gets of age, they go and then they use these types of laws against him. And so again, I know you would agree that in those situations, that is unfair to the young man in those situations. I know you would agree.
I ain't say it was fair. We ain't talking about fair. We talking about what's the law, and you got to educate yourself.
You got
to educate yourself. You got to educate
ruining their lives
been created
because a parent didn't approve their relationship.
Every law was created
to educate
hold down
yourself.
the black man.
When you 18 years old, I don't care if you're in high school. There ain't no excuse to me because you got sense. You got sense when you're in high school.
Everybody knows.
You know what's legal and what's not legal.
When you 18 is when things change.
And
everybody knows that in high school.
If you 16 years old and you 17 years old and you messing with this girl 13 to 14 years old, you already know you ain't supposed to be doing that.
We talking about high school.
I don't care about no high school. You can't tell me. You can't tell me you ain't had no sense.
Freshman.
I don't care. You can't tell me.
Do this all the time.
You can't. Just because it happen all the time don't mean people don't know better. They just doing it because ain't nobody saying nothing.
You know you wrong. You 18.
You know you wrong.
She
know
14.
Well, you know your mama sitting up looking at you. Why you messing with that little girl?
She called in the house sounding like she just got out of middle school.
And some people daddy telling them, why you messing with that little girl?
She looked like a little girl.
Am I lying?
But because she coming over.
All I'm saying is where's the common sense come into it?
You 18.
That's why I say to me, I'm telling me, that's why I say you educate these high schoolers, 17 years old, 18 years old. Hey, I understand everybody in high school, whatever, but this is the age of consent. Leave them freshmen alone.
You know better.
You understand what I'm saying?
But
Leave
beyond freshmen. So you're saying if I'm 18 and I'm a senior, I can't talk to a junior or a senior who happens to be 17?
16.
No, 16.
Wait a minute.
You gotta be 16.
So 16
some states is 16, some states is 15.
Yeah, in Florida, it's 12 to 16.
Whatever state you in, you need to learn that age. And all I'm saying is educate them.
That's
You
the
can
law.
put everything in, let's educate them. That's all I'm trying to say.
They need to have a class. They need math, science, English, and law. Because everybody needs to know
You need to
the law.
educate them because, like you said, this is something that happens all the time.
All the time.
It happens all the time, so that's why you need to know.
It's crazy. They got sex ed. They got all this stuff in school, but do they teach you the law? It's the law of the land that you live in. But do they teach you the law? Nah. You know why they don't teach you the law?
You know that.
Situations like this.
Right.
We don't want you to know the law. We want you to get locked up and pay to get out of jail.
So I can use it against you.
And then pay the lawyer. Why they don't have law? I got lunch, PE, I got English 4, but I don't got no law class to teach me the law of the land. It's crazy to me. Don't get me started on the curriculum guide of the school system.
All I'm
if
saying
she's 15,
is about education.
If she's 15, turned 16, if she'd have been 17, this would have been not a problem.
If she was 17 and she was 18, 17 and 18 is cool. 18 and 16 is cool. 18 and 15, I have an
18
issue.
and 16 is a problem, too.
Yeah, that's a problem. 18 and 16. If
Well,
you're
then,
between 12
again,
and 16.
Again.
But that's like me going to prom or dating a senior in high school. A
See, I
sophomore
can't say
dating a
that. 'Cause
senior.
I went to prom
You
with a
usually
senior,
do.
and I was in 9th grade.
So
I went to prom with a senior when I
so
was
you
in
know
8th
what,
grade.
brother?
And if you
So you know
did
what?
something, she
She
should have
was
been
in jail.
If you did something, she should have been in jail.
She should have been in jail.
Hey,
If that's what
hey,
you're saying.
You're right.
Lock them up. Throw away.
Throw away.
That's crazy.
Because I had a great
It
prom.
ain't about
okay?
being, being
crazy.
crazy. It's about what the law is, and you need to be educated
The
on
law
the law.
needs
She
to
lucky
be
I didn't tell
changed.
Well, then the law needs to be changed, and somebody needs to start a movement and change the law.
The law
But
needs
for
to
right
be
now,
changed.
that's the law. So what I'm saying is, let's just not have this big thing about let's just fight the law. Okay, fight the law, but until the law gets changed, you need to educate. Especially if you're saying it's disproportionately affecting the black males.
I was
You need
taking
to educate
taking
them.
advantage
That's
of.
all I'm saying.
She was a senior.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
hurt.
okay. We off that.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's just now that I'm
We
thinking
off
about
that.
it.
I understand you was traumatized.
Changed my
It's all
life.
right.
You know, if
It's
you was
okay.
in Bible study tonight, it would have helped you.
I should have came and testified because that was. I was a freshman and she was a senior. I'll think about this, and I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. 407-894.
Oh my God, get off me.
1680 is the number. 407.
Again, I'm just saying this is about. All I'm saying is it's about the education. Just educate them. Let's just not sit down and say we not gonna educate them. And they keep fighting the law. You know, we need to educate them.
I agree with Mr. King. They do need a law class in school. I agree with him. That was a very good comment that he made.
Well, no, okay, let's be okay. To be technical, Mike, they do have law classes. It's just a selective. You just don't have to take it.
I didn't have it at Jones. Maybe I went to Jones, but we had sex ed. We had a critical thinking class, Spanish. We had French. It was
probably there, but you had to look, search it out, and seek it, and then maybe you could have taken it.
What I'm trying to say is it should be mandatory, just like English, just like science. Laws change every year. Just like history changes constantly, they need to have a constant law class from the beginning of time, just so you know these things as a young child. You should really have a law class. Really.
All right, brother. I hear you, man.
Somebody should back me up and go to the Facebook page and talk about that. We should have a law class, and we could start a petition.
You do that, sir.
Well, I'm not an admin on the page anymore.
407-894-1680 is the number.
Really?
I got a statement for you. You brought another story to me, Ms. McCray, just before we went on air. Talk about that one real quick.
Yes. Mr. Jay Harris, a Michigan football recruit. He was highly recruited, had full rides to Temple, to Michigan State, and not Penn State, another school. I can't read it right now. Anyway, so he chose to go with Michigan State, but Michigan State did some searching, and he has a whole bunch of YouTube postings of him rapping. His rap name is Dat Bull for Life, and that's his video, which has over 55,000 hits right now. So when officials saw that his videos opening up with him lighting up marijuana cigarettes containing explicit lyrics and so on and so forth, they decided to take away that scholarship. He then came out and said, you know what, that makes me feel better because I was signing up half-heartedly because I truly want to be a rapper. I never really wanted to go to school. I didn't have the courage to tell my parents that I really wanted to be a rapper. So instead of going to college on a full ride playing football, he's now going to be a rapper. Yay, the American dream.
Well, let me say this. I applaud him for being honest. Because all he was going to do, that full ride wasn't going to mean nothing. He was going to go to school,
play around,
party for a year or two before the coaches realized he wasn't serious and he got kicked off the team, which was going to make it harder for him to go to another school. Don't waste nobody's time. Don't waste nobody's money. Go do what you pursue your dream to do. Now, the positive behind it is if he does chase this and he's serious about it, even if he 2 or 3 years in or a year in, he may realize, hey, you know what? This ain't working out. I want to play football again.
Right.
And if with him having them big-time offers, he'll have another opportunity to go to school. Even if it's not a big school, it'd be a small school, but he will still have another opportunity. He may have to pay for his first year or student loans or whatever may have you. But I'm just glad he's not wasting nobody's time.
I agree. Because I'm always been a fan of right after high school taking a break from school, because a lot of children need that break so they can miss it. You've been in school for 13 years. You want to take a break and realize, go work somewhere, pursue a rap career, do what you feel like you want to do. And once you realize that you can't do it without school, you're going to go back to school happy to go to school.
And you're going to take the school serious.
And you're going to have a whole different mindset. You're going to be working at McDonald's, and you're going to be like, you know what? I need to go to school so I won't be working at McDonald's no more. And that's why I tell people, hey, if you want to take a break, take that break and see what real life is like outside of going to school every day for 8 hours to 9 hours a day. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to realize, you know what? I need to get some kind of money so I can pay for this rap career. Then he's going to realize, you know what? It ain't enough money to pay for this rap career because it costs a lot of money for this rap career. You know what? I could have had financial aid and balanced everything out because that's what college teaches you. But, he's just going to learn the harder way. But he will learn.
And he'll figure it out one way or another. My thing, he's honest with it. Like you said,
Yeah.
I don't want to go to school.
Yeah.
He don't need to go to school.
I gotta applaud.
He don't
him
because I'm telling you, just go waste a whole bunch of time.
Respect.
He gonna end up partying. Probably gonna end up getting in trouble.
A lot of trouble. Throwing laptops. Oh, hold on. That was somebody else.
Wait a minute. Are you?
That was Cam. My bad. That was Cam.
I'm telling you, because you've seen it countless times again. Basketball players, football players,
Look at Allen
baseball
Iverson.
players, anybody. They go to school and they don't really be ready for school. They just want to go play ball.
Mm-hmm.
And they just go and they waste everybody's time, including theirs.
I agree. It sounds like based on where his head's at that he would have probably, like you said, not been successful at school. But I think it's unfortunate that is his mindset. I think that's unfortunate that his mindset is
hold on. Let me interrupt you. What y'all just say? High school? Isn't that what y'all just said?
Again, it's unfortunate that his mindset is so that he doesn't see the opportunity that is available to him at this moment, which most people don't have those types of opportunities. Most people cannot get a free ride to any particular school based on academics, in his case athletics. So the opportunity that was presented for him, and then for him to have the mindset that I don't need this, I can go get this rap career. I just think that speaks volume on some of our youth today, we'll say.
Well, I mean, it's probably his environment.
And it's unfortunate that's where his head's at. I think that's a sad thing. I think that's a sad play on where the youth are sometimes with their mindsets and then chasing these, not that I don't know if he was chasing an NFL career, but, he's at least going to play ball and get a free ride to college. But to throw all that away to say,
well, hold on, but let me say this.
It depends on his environment.
Y'all acting like, okay, he get a full ride to college. Like, do y'all really realize what them football players be doing? They be in school, be halfway, be prison to them. Especially when you go to a big time program, do a football season. Unless you just an exceptional one where you get some leeway. Everything you do from sun up to sundown, them coaches know where you at. So everybody can't handle that kind of structure and control. Everybody's not ready for that. And if you don't really got the mindset, I want to do this, you're telling you, wasting everybody's time, including yours.
It really depends on his environment also, because you got to think, what environment was he in that he would want to rap or play sports? It depends on your environment, because there's so many other opportunities once he got to school that he could have pursued, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to rap. So, a lot of black males are in that environment where that's all we want to do is rap or play some sports.
As opposed to learn in school.
I wonder
where his parents are. So that was my son.
His parents.
I was like, okay,
that's what he wanted.
You're leaving the house. You have to finance your own rap career. You have to finance your life.
I wouldn't kick him out. I wouldn't kick him out. Long as he gets a job.
There you go.
And long as he gets a job, he's fine. Because I'm not just going to kick him out because he don't want to go to college.
Deuces.
My
son.
You kick him out. What you going to do? Then what he going to do? Where he going to go? Then he going to be on the street selling dope.
Exactly.
He's not going to be in my house. Not losing no scholarship like that.
He didn't lose it. He gave it away.
No.
He lost it.
He did both. It was a mutual agreement, is what the coach said.
But all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, he got a mixtape coming out June 1st.
And he got publicity everywhere. Everybody knows of
Look
him
out
now.
for Dat Bull for life.
That sounds like a stud. I'm sorry.
It sounds like that fool.
That's
what it sounds like. We appreciate you for listening to the show this week. We thank Jason Henry for coming on this week as well. Again, with the Jason Henry project. We appreciate him bringing that by. Thank everybody for listening, and I thank my co-host for being here.
Indeed.
And hashtag get a life, brother. It's what I got to say about the brother in Michigan, man. But we'll see you next week. This is your host, Jay Real Family Talk. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook, Real Family Talk. Follow us on YouTube. We'll see you next week. You can follow us on Facebook, Real Family Talk. You can follow us on Twitter, Real Family Talk. The website, realfamilytalk.weebly.com.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.